Hello everyone and welcome to week 22 of the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2021. And first up, it's M&M, it's Mazda MX-5s and it's at Miyabi. And let's have a look at the race details. We are racing 8 laps here at Miyabi. It's a grid start and we are on sports medium tyres. And this one can get a little bit crazy as you're about to witness, because this race has some stonking crashes, actually. Some stonking crashes is the best way to put it. Let's jump to the race then. I'll talk you through some tips and tricks. A little lap guide, obviously, because it's like a 1 second lap. And let's have a look at some of these crazy incidents. Here we are then at the start of the grid. Pop up your headlights. If you're in this race, I want you to pop them up, honestly. That's what they're there for. But as you can see, we're starting right at the back here. The only person not to set a time. We've also got a combination of, well, Super GT and Jimmy Broadbent had a baby that end up with Super GT Immy up ahead there in P10. Anyway, to kick off, you do not need traction control. You can literally just plant your foot and off you go, and there's no such thing as wheel spin. I'm going to head in towards turn 1 then, and I was sort of showing my nose here. I think the Spaniard got kind of lucky there that I wasn't just a bit further across, but even so, it's fair dues as we come through here. Up ahead, you see a pit maneuver done there by Super GT's and Jimmy Broadbent's secret baby there, as there was a pit maneuver, but everyone survives it, fortunately. But as we come through here, they're about to do another pit maneuver as they hit somebody else off. Oh, the Shadow Realm is calling many people today, I can tell you that. And in towards the braking zone we go. So we're already up to P8 from incidents that didn't involve us. We got a little bit deep here, but I was learning the track on the fly just to make sure you had a track guide at the very end of this race. Up ahead, someone's got a 1 second penalty. I think that was for cutting a chicane on lap 1. And you can see how much that drops them back here. So try and avoid a penalty as best as you can. See, Johnny actually leaves that racing line open, which is very kind, because he was much slower at that point in time. Just going through here then. What else is going to happen here? As let's look up ahead. Indeed, there we go. We have a flying MX-5 with this bit. That's a nice crash, though, isn't it? That's a proper send to the Shadow Realm. As through we go up into Peace. Well, talking of Shadow Realm, Peace Steve. There we go. We're in the cursed position already. As we look down the inside of the Spaniards, so you can see there's lots of contact here. And if you get a slight bit as the French driver goes off, now we need to keep an eye on that French driver as we go through this race. There was a very big warning at the start of this race to avoid that driver at all costs, and I seem to remember that name as well myself. Up into P5 then, the curse gone. And as I was just saying, basically a little bit of contact can force a lot of oversteer, and suddenly you can have a lot of carnage. So this race, if you don't like carnage or don't like contact, it's probably one to avoid, because you want to stick your nose in places to get round. There's not many... Oh, as I said that, there's a Turkish driver who's just gone off there. Slight bit of contact. Move on the inside of the Spaniard. I was very cautious there. I lifted because I didn't want to cause the pit maneuver. So the Spaniard keeps P3 for now. But we want a podium. Let's have a look down in towards the sharp right hand. This is the main overtaking spot, of course. But we don't have a chance at this moment in time. Staying in that P-Tolly position. If you don't know what that is, it's mine and Ollie's favourite position. As through we go here then. And we continue on. Now, if you're wondering why this video has come out early, it's because of some IRL stuff. So we'll be back to normal very soon. So apologies if you were looking forward to the premiere later on tonight, but it is what it is, and we've just got to go with it. As you see, the Spaniard just brakes there. Never brake is my tip for this circuit. Never brake on that corner anyway, because that's what happens. You get more understeer and you start drifting out wide, and we get the move done on the inside of the Spaniard there. But then the Spaniard goes to turn here. I'm guessing they were a bit scared that they were going to get run off, but what that does is it forced me onto the curb, which made my car understeer even more. Gianni, of course, takes full advantage of that and does a good move down the inside. And we're back into P4, so we've not really gained anything. However, notice in the distance, P1 has a penalty, so that's going to help us out beautifully as we head on to lap number 7. We're going to have a look at Gianni here, though, in towards turn 1 then. So with this corner, as I say, don't brake for it. You want to lift, and I'll explain it on the lap guide, which is going to be the final lap, of course. As you see, Johnny goes a little bit deep there, and we're looking around, and there is a marker you can use to accelerate with there as well. As I say, I will be pointing that out. So we're not alongside Johnny here, so it's better to fall back into line at the moment in time. As through here we go. And what we want to do is look in the mirror as we have a flying MX-5, and then the Frenchman absolutely punts the Spaniard. Now, when I originally was racing this, I thought the Spaniard had just tried to take me out after a previous incident. That's not the case. So, yeah, it's always good to watch stuff back. It was that French driver, and as I say, we got warnings at the very beginning of this race about that French driver, and yeah, there's the reason why they've just punted somebody else off. Weirdly, it's another, obviously Momos is French, Gianni's French. Anyway, in terms of this track guide, by the way, I've literally missed it. As you come in here, you want a wide line, and that tree there is your acceleration point. Now, what you want to do is you want to lift and just let the car roll until that tree and then go. Critically, the speed you want at that tree is 90 miles an hour, minimum. You can do it faster. I've done it at 92, and I think 93 is very much possible, but 90 miles an hour. A wide line in, you want to clip the curb, and as you get to that tree, start accelerating. It should be about 90 miles an hour. The last corner then, it's just before this curb in here you want to brake. Now, if you're in slipstream, it's much more. As you can see, I've just started the brakes, but I've been in slipstream the entire time. If you're not in slipstream, you want to brake at the curb in there. And you want to drop to second gear. I found third gear just bogged a little bit too much. You're just got to be careful with second gear because the shift, what will happen is the car will oversteer a little bit. So you just have to be careful of that. But we leave the final chicane there. Make sure you don't cut that. You saw a couple of penalties in this race. But that is it. So there's quite a bit of carnage in this. You can have some good racing, but because it's very hard to overtake, people will be very aggressive. They will stick their noses in where it's not really wanted, and you saw the outcome of that. But that's it for race A. Let's head to the most common combo in history, race B. That's right, it's a Maggiore GP and Group 3. The most common thing since sliced bread. Is that the most common? I have no idea. Let's jump to race details then. We're racing 4 laps here at Lego Maggiore GP. You probably already guessed that because that's what we normally race. It's a rolling start. Oh, what a surprise. And racing medium tyres. Oh my word, it's a shocker. No, wait, no, it's the exact same thing as usual. But we are in a Toyota Supra, as you can see in the background. The FT1 would be good here as well. And Consta is going to show you another car, which apparently can do very well here. Let's jump to the race then, and let's have a look at exactly what happened, as well as a lap guide, as always, with these weekly race guides. Here we are then at the start. As you see, Supra. We're starting in P5. It's blimmin' fortunate I didn't finish my last lap. I can tell you that much because I would have started... Can't speak. I would be starting P2. But you saw Consta there in the McLaren while the rest of the grid was Supras. So you can see what the general meta car for this race is this week. As I said, the FT1 would be quite good here as well. I do think you could probably race multiple Group 3 cars because, to be honest, where you start is where you're probably going to be fighting in this race. So that's why I qualify for race B anyway. As always with race B, we're going to go straight into a track guide here. So turn number 1, look for blue van, man or woman or professional. I mean, you're braking just after that in the Supra. Generally speaking, just look for that car and you should be fine. Or van, not car. You want to click the apex like that. And then as you head towards turn 2, the end of that white mark on the grass, you want to then brake and then potentially be in second gear for this right-hander. I find first it causes all sorts of oversteer in the Supra. And then just roll the car around. Once you're happy, accelerate and straighten it up as best as you can there. And then through the left, you want to lift a little bit here, just to make sure you clip the curb and get as far left as possible. And then on the right-hand side, you've got the orange painted barrier. If you use the end of that, and you should be golden then. You want to brake and really try and cut the inside of the curb in here. It'll drag you around and just give you a little bit extra turn in there. Reduces that understeer for you very nicely. And just be careful of the exit there and touching the grass. Heading towards this right-hander then, I'm not using my normal left-hand side curb. I'm actually using the ambulance that we spotted last time on the right-hand side. So another professional vehicle there. So as you get to that point is when you're going to start braking. I'm braking early here because I'm right behind the Belgium driver. But you can use that ambulance on the right-hand side and it should be fine. I see the Belgium driver goes off there. So we're going to go, thank you very much, P. Tolly for us, as we head up to this left-hander. And as you can see there, that really dark patch on the curb is what I always use here. So you're going to brake and turn in. Generally speaking, this should be 4th gear for the Supra. Sometimes you'll have to drop to 3rd for whatever reason. But 4th gear. And then you really want to cut the inside of this. Make sure you don't go over the grey curb. In terms of cutting, that's when you get penalties. But you can really cut the inside of that curb. And you might want to lift for the left there before you get onto this bit. Mainly because of understeer. A lot of people do understeer off there. It's very easy to do. It's better just to lift slightly. Make sure you make the corner. Heading down towards Banky Boy then, and what you're going to look for is the 50-meter board. I'm picking that this week. If you don't know, I have a full, very detailed lap guide of Lego Maggiore GP. I'll put that in the description and at the end of the video if you really want to dig down deep into this combo. 3rd gear for the Supra then, and yeah, nice and easy out the corner. Remember, you can short shift this Supra, and that's where it's best shifted as well. So you want to clip the curb on the left and then get a good right-hander here. You want to cut it a little bit more than I did there. Very easy to understeer off there. Head towards this right-hander then. On the right-hand side, the last gap in the trees is what I use. I use this more and more and more now, and it's so... I always look for it. It's so easy to spot now for me that it's just every time I use it. It's a brilliant marker. Very much use that one. And as you go through the first right-hander, heading towards the second, the end of the curb. You want to be turning in before the end of the curb there. And it's all about rolling the car through. A little bit of trail braking in there. You can notice a little bit of a dab on the brake. Really trying to get the car clipped on the inside. If you can get your tyre on the inside of the curb, once again, that will drag you around. Heading towards this last corner then, I've stopped it here. Basically, the bullet sign on the left-hand side, the end of that, as it gets to the end of the screen on your left-hand side, that's when you want to brake. And then fourth gear, you want to try and clip the apex. I miss it, so I have to drop to third and then go back up to fourth when I know I've made it. But that is what you use for this track. Right, we're going to advance a bit further ahead. As you can see, there's been some absolutely awesome battling going on between JT and the Polish driver there. I can't pronounce that name. We've also got Blue 42 Thunder in here as well. And it all gets very close and we all want to steer off. So Consta goes, thank you very much, Tidgney, out of that position. And down to P5 we go. So the McLaren is keeping up here. And as I said, I think most cars can have a good race here. It's just that the meta is the Supra. So if you want to be, have the best opportunity, you pick the Supra. If you just want a bit of fun, pick any Group 3 car. We try and get a little bit sneaky here, going around the outside of Consta. Doesn't quite work out, but we are on the inside for this left-hander. We are going to have to lift off quite a bit here to avoid hitting Consta. And Consta's going to keep that position for now. But I'm going to try and go for some form of cutback. Does it work? Not quite, but you see Consta gets a little bit too much oversteer there. So I'm like, okay, here we go, Consta. Let's have a battle. This is the Olympian, by the way. Consta made the Olympics. In towards the right-hander we go. And I'm looking on the inside. Then I realise I'm probably going to hit Consta there. And I slam on. And I would have hit Consta, I think. What's the move on? Potentially, but I sort of saw what's happening. I could tell the future. And I did slam on there to avoid that action. But yeah, Mr. Olympian. I'm so glad Consta made it. I think it's quite... I don't know what the word is. But basically, a Greek is attending the first virtual motorsports Olympic. Obviously, the Olympics is renowned with Greece, so I think it's just amazing. Anyway, in towards turn 1 we go. I was looking once again to try and get in on the action here. As Consta and Blue 42 Thunder go side by side here. And through there we go. Not much happening so far. And can we make or take any opportunity here? As through the left. Consta up into P3 then. We should rename Consta the Olympian. How about that, folks? Should we do that? Just put it in the comments. Let's see what you guys think. As we leave that corner then and heading down towards the right-hander. Can we make any moves happen down into here? Not quite. Ooh, Blue 42 Thunder has a little look backside of it as well. It wasn't even as close as I was there to Consta, so, that was a perfect move there, I reckon. As we head onto the straight then, Consta goes full defensive here. Blue 42 Thunder wants that slipstream, wants to get by here. Final lap, of course. Heading down towards the right-hander then. And on the outside of Banky Boy. It doesn't always work out. We try and get on the inside then. Happy days. Can we make the move work? Not quite. Blue 42 Thunder has a better run out the corner. And they're going to keep that position for now. But you can see we can have some good racing here. But as you've also noticed probably, as the racing happens, as Blue is actually looking for a move on the Olympian around the outside here, that doesn't normally work. Only when tyre wear is on does it work there. And going to keep that position for now. But yeah, you'll notice on the mini-map, there's packs everywhere, little packs. The minute you start fighting, you lose so much time. And that's what's happened here. So that's, where you qualify is where you're fighting for, is what I was talking about earlier. Now, we looked for a move on Blue 42 Thunder on the inside there. It wasn't really on, but we scared them into that mistake. But here we go. Look at this. Run to the line. And 3 cars separated by 1/10 of a second. And we finish P5. We just avoid that curse. As I say, you can have some good racing here. But, you're fighting where you qualify. So I'd aim to get the best qualifying lap you can in the Supra. And then pick what you like to drive. That's it for race B. Let's head to race C. For race C then, we are at Brands Hatch, and as you can see, we are in the Group 4 cars. Let's have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 13 laps here at Brands Hatch. It's the full circuit as well, the GP circuit. It's a rolling start. We are on racing soft and medium tyres. Both are required. Fuel usage ×2 and tyre wear ×6. Now, as you can see, Group 4. Normally, the TT is very strong here, and it is in terms of the qualifying lap. When it gets to the race, though, that ×6 tyre wear makes stuff very, very interesting and does allow for a mixture of strategies and a mixture of cars to race. Let's jump to the race then, and let's have a look at exactly what happened, the strategies involved, and yeah, let's have a look at a lap guide as well. So, before we get into this, do you spot anything a bit odd? Let me zoom in there. Key is in twice. So, double accounting to a new level. Now, even Key didn't know what was going on there. He mentioned that in chat. He was like, how is his main account in there? I have no idea. It instantly got removed. So, there's only 18 drivers in here. But what an odd bug. What an odd bug. And as you can see here, by the way, in terms of cars, what an interesting selection of cars. We have a mixture of the FF cars. We've got some FR cars. We've got some MR cars. And we've got the Megane Trophy in there as well. Obviously, one of the best tyre wear. And we're kicking off here from P16. So I'm starting on the racing medium tyres. Notice my brake balance has gone to 3. Now, I've taken a note out of Will Murdoch's book, the 8-year-old racer from... He's not really 8 years old. But he's mentioned quite a few times that the lower brake balance actually stops understeer. And I did a little practice beforehand, and it does. Oh, turn 1, by the way. I forgot we're doing a lap guide first. Look for the marshal box on the left-hand side. Obviously, depending on the car, depends on exactly where you're going to brake there. But use that as a reference, the marshal box on the left-hand side here. Oh, there. Oh, where we were. Anyway, P2. I can't speak. Turn 2, Druids. The coloured barrier on the left-hand side. That's what I use here. You can use the gantry above, of course, the Palmer Sport gantry. Key's just accidentally hit Maverick there. So we try and go around the outside here. Key gets a little bit of oversteer, but unfortunately for Key, 1 second penalty for hitting someone up the backside. Now, turn 3, Graham Hill. Use the start of the curb on the right-hand side. Be careful about going too close to that, though. Clip the grass. You're going to the realm. We've been talking about the realm all day in terms of this weekly race guide. The realm is calling you right there. So we're going to head up to this left-hander here. Very easy to get wrong. On the right-hand side, you've got the green and sort of white or yellow markings on the barrier, or the one board, or the cones if you use them. Obviously, we should use the cones or put the cones on to help you if you use them. And critically, you're going to want to be careful about going too deep there. It really can lose you lots of time. Now, Key looked on the inside of Maverick, didn't quite work out. But here's why I don't think the Megane is the best car. You've just seen here, I've literally just bolted past 2 Meganes, and the LCT behind as well has also done that. Enter this fast right-hander then. On the right-hand side, the coloured barrier, once again, the orange marker, beautiful marker. You're looking to the right anyway, so it's in your peripheral vision. You use that as your reference point. And I could have done that corner a bit faster, but I was on the outside. Heading towards this right-hander, same again. Coloured barrier. This time on the left-hand side, but all these markers, very easy to use. They can't get demolished. So they're permanently there. It's brilliant at Brands Hatch. Loads of markers to use. Be careful of the curb glitch, which we will witness firsthand later on as we come down and up Dingledale. And on the right side, we've got the one board. That's what I use here. Nice, lovely one board. You're looking to the right anyway. You want to brake just before that. And you sort of want the car to roll through the corner. And you can cut quite a lot of the inside. You know, if you can get your tyre really far over, that's really handy. Now, this left-hander, I'm using the shadow. Now, when the shadow is available to us, of course, we don't have time change here. So that shadow is permanently there. Brilliant shadow. You can use the marshals as well on the right-hand side. I've used them in the past. As Gianni goes full drift. Oh, there, my word. Brilliant save there, Gianni, as we now head towards the last corner. And this time, I'm going to say just use the one board. You know, I normally use the Indy circuit, but the one board, you can see I'm braking just before the one board. Use that to your advantage. If that gets wiped out, though, use the Indy circuit where it joins up and you should be fine. Now, I was learning the medium tyre on the fly here. Now, I'd actually read on GT Planet that some FF cars were doing 1 and 12. I didn't really believe it, and I'm glad I didn't believe it because I didn't want to come in. I actually wanted to come in on lap 3. However, I choose not to. As you see, I go a little bit deep there. Now, I went deep because of the yellow flag. It put me off a little bit. But Gianni's trying to go around the outside at this right-hander. Not going to quite work here, as we keep that position. Very hard to go around the outside there. You've got to have some significant advantage to do that, as we do keep the position. And we carry on through here. Johnny getting a lovely little run through there. But once again, I'm going to show you why I don't think the Megane Trophy is the car of choice here. I think some of the other cars will be better. So if we come through here, you're going to see the Megane just drop off. It had an instant run on it. Look at it. It's just been dropped. I'm not in slipstream here. I'm dropping it for days. Obviously, with tyre wear later on, it has an advantage, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Really don't see it. But we'll see how as the week goes on. But it is there as a choice if you want to use it. As you see, the Spaniards had it all sorts of wrong through there. Now, I'm going this lap, weirdly, and I'm not sure why I did, because I had in my head lap 3. But I randomly came in on lap 2, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just come in. So you can cut that first bit. Just got to be careful as you come in here. And then we're going to change to the soft tyres, and out we go. Now, pit loss is around 10.3 seconds-ish again, because it depends on your entry and exit, of course. But it's around that in terms of your pit stop. as we've come out ahead of Key there. So Key took his penalty and obviously came in on lap 1. Obviously the Megane on the softer tyres will be better later on compared to the FS as we catch up to Maverick now. Now, I always like to try and scare people into mistakes and not actually go for the moves. And that's what I try and do here. But Maverick just leaves it open for me there, which is very kind. You didn't have to do that, Maverick. And I'm going to whack my hazards on there just to say thank you as well. Thank you, Maverick, for that. But I say you can always race me in this. You know, you don't have to let me go. I was just, doing my normal thing of trying to scare somebody into a mistake. As we catch up to the Turkish driver now. And I'm going to try the exact same thing again. Can we do it this time? Again, look on the inside. Can we do it? Not quite this time. It leaves me just enough room there. So I'm looking... Ooh. Actually, you're racing in my 18 number. So that's the number I normally race in. And... yes, good luck for you in this race then. Through we go. And I'm going to look on the inside now. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go for it. Key's caught up as well with that action. There's Key right behind me as well. And through we go into the next position. Again, another example of why I don't think the Megane Trophy is going to be the best car here. Look at it. It's been absolutely dropped. Dropped for days. Now, in terms of strategy, in fact, we'll talk about strategy in just a second, actually. We've got some fantastic racing coming up, so do stay tuned for this because the racing at the end of this race, superb. But look at it, Key here. Now, I talked about the curb glitch earlier. Boom, there we go, curb glitch. Key has been sent to the realm, and yes, that is what it is. It will impact MR cars more than an FF car. It's some weird glitch. We know there's a curb glitch in the game, and unfortunately, Key had it. So you do have to be careful on that right-hander on that curb. It's happened to many people, including B-Racer, who is arguably at the moment the best driver on Gran Turismo. So, it happens to everybody. It doesn't matter if you are really far down in DR or the ultimate DR. Anybody can get it. So you saw the French driver come in there. Now up to P8 with Mohammed. And we've actually been catching a lot of the medium runners. That's how good the soft tyre is here versus the medium. You need the grip. So it's best to use the softs as much as possible. Mohammed lets me go here as well. So big thank you to you for letting me pass. But you didn't have to again. You could have fought it. As we're now up to P8. So we're making our way in this grid fairly nicely, I would say. We're doing fairly well. We're going to advance a bit further on here and catch up to the Russian ahead. I think that's a Russian flag. Actually, apologies if it's not. But Karim. Well, we're going to race Karim now. Now, when I was racing Karim, I was noticing a bit of movement in the braking zones, which was a bit scary. But here, it was absolutely fine, Gave me just enough room there. Good defensive driving there from Karim. And he's going to keep P. Steve for now. As we carry on a bit further on into the next lap. So Karim could see I'm catching. Look, I look towards the right and then goes back towards the left. I don't like that kind of sort of weaving. Basically, it will cause you to have more incidents with people because you just can't understand it. There is a bit more difficult to go for a move anyway, so I can sort of understand the movement in that situation. But you'll see it again in a little bit, and I was like, is it blocking? Because to me, it feels like blocking. You're reacting to the driver behind. You shouldn't be doing that. You need to pick your line and then keep to that line. That's the whole point of racing. You just react, it causes crashes. So here we go then. So initially he goes towards the right, so I think, okay, and then I'm going to go back to the right, and then they move again. See the movement there? So initially they went to the right. So I was sort of moving to the left, then I went to the right, and then they moved to the right the very last second there. Luckily, we didn't have a big incident, but just need to chill out with the moving in the braking zones there, because I think that's, that will cause you to have more incidents, I mean, I'm trying to race as clean as I can here, but if you're doing that, you're going to have incidents, so just be careful of that when you are racing. So you can see there's a Megane Trophy behind. Markina, the twin of my persona, Martina, as you all now know from the 20k video special, that my nickname apparently is Martina, as my mum said. So, yes, Markina is behind in the Megane. Going to go up the inside here. Now, the Scirocco makes just a little mistake there. They accelerate too early, and that allows the Megane to get past. And the Megane just has enough here with the slipstream to stay ahead. Now, the Megane, we're going to have an absolute stunker of a battle with here. So you can see Megane very good in some of these corners because the tyres have just lasted that much longer here. We may have pitted, they may have actually pitted after me as well. So they're going to have a real big advantage here. And you can see they get the run on the inside here. Are they going to make it work? Let's find out. You can see they're being dropped again instantly with that pace. The Megane really struggles in that straight line, and Brands Hatch is a fast circuit. It's why the TT is the best of the FF cars. A lot of downforce there. The front splitter, you have to remember, it's got a lot of downforce there. So the Megane gets on the inside, and here I was just letting it go because I had it in my head. I was going to overtake on that back straight. As long as I stayed with the Spaniard, I was fine. So that's my goal here. That was my target. Do I pull it off? So through here we go. And you can see the advantage through the corners. My word, that is a big old advantage as we head up towards this left-hander. I'm just trying to stay in the slipstream here as best as I can. And they went a little bit deep there, which has cost them some time. But you see, quite a big gap here. 0.3 of a second. You wouldn't think we could catch this. But oh boy. Yes, we can. Look at the speed. Now, I was expecting the Spaniards to defend it. It doesn't. I go really far down the inside. Maybe they thought they could hang it around the outside, but the downforce really helps the Audi here. So even so, we have a good side-by-side moment, and we go for a really sketchy side-by-side here. This one I would advise not going side-by-side. You see there, I just got pushed a little bit by the curb. I did leave enough room on the outside there, so we continue racing. Now, let me talk about strategy, because I've not really talked about it, and I said I would at the end of this race. And you're going to have another lap of this racing, which is really good. As we go through this left. Yes, we're staying in front here. So, strategy. You want to be on the soft tyres for as long as possible. You can quite clearly see I caught up to the medium runners so fast, even with that pit stop. 10-second pit stop, it's not that large. It really isn't. So it's very worthwhile doing it. And even worn soft tyres are going to be fairly okay. Now, the leader is in a 4C, which is obviously a good car. It'd be very good on tyres. I was very tempted by the Ferrari. I nearly picked it, but I went with the TT just from what I read on GT Planet. However, I think that I should have pit a lap later, even 2 laps later in the TT. But yeah, if you pit any earlier, as you see, I'm struggling with tyres now. But I'm having a good fight with the Megane Trophy, you know. I'm having a brilliant fight here with Marquina. And the critical thing here is Marquina has much better tyres and he's struggling to overtake. Now, don't get me wrong, Marquina could go a bit more aggressive in some places and potentially make the move happen, as we'll see in a little bit. But we are defending this. And that's all you have to do at Brands Hatch. It's a very hard track to overtake because it's long sweeping corners. And as long as you maintain the apex, it is really hard for anyone to overtake. So the FF cars can still survive. As you see here, this is where I was expecting Marquina to go for it. It doesn't, which is a surprise to me. So I was like, excellent, I can try and keep this now. And down Dingle Dell. It's not going to happen here. Never going to happen because of the acceleration of the TT. In towards this right-hander, this is where the TT will struggle. And even more so this left-hander with the tyre wear. This is where we are really struggling. You can see that tyre wear really impacted now. If you are in the TT, lap 3 or 4, depending on how well you save tyres. I did go to brake balance 5 in order to try and save the tyres. As you see here, I stayed on the inside here to really stop the Megane going for it. Because if they're on the inside, they would have got it. See, they get a run out the corner here. And they're about to get up into P. Steve. However, I want P. Steve here. I sweep back across. Well, the sweep back past them, should I say, not across. And we get P. Steve, so the curse remains. However, I reckon an okay race. I think you can have some good little battles here and there. They're definitely nice in terms of car choice. You know, you can pick a plethora of cars there. What a word that is to use. But that is going to be it for this week's weekly race guide. I'd say apologies if it's slightly earlier than normal, just due to personal stuff. I have to do it earlier this week. In terms of Ollie's streaming later on. I won't put a link there straight off the bat. I'll put it in the description, actually, because you can't go directly there now because it's a bit early. There's 2 videos there. Lego Maggiore GP track guide and also another video about automatic versus manual. Well worth checking out, especially at the races this week. It might be worth you trying automatic if you are really struggling with learning lines and brake markers. That's going to be it for me now, folks. Au revoir and farewell.